I think we can film the tour.
Do you go to television much?
Hard to look out here.
They weren't. Who are they?
I'm not sure.
Oh, do you know who they are?
They'll be from one of the other networks.
Praise the Lord, I can see.
Hallelujah. Cool. We're not speaking. It's a bit like that now.
With ABC National, I'm looking more out the news side rather than the other side. You're legal counsel?
Vision I'm legal counsel.
Your support, moral support, and other support. The legal action that you have going against them you're suing.
Suggesting that I want to join, asking if I want to join the nursing I can't join until you give me the $10 membership fee. I can't afford the money.
Oh no. You know, I really see the first of those.
BC.
Fourth day of hearing in the matter of complaint of Mrs. Party against the Criterion Hotel.
Well, Mr. Joyce, whilst the
I'm not sure what to do at this point.
Well, Mrs. Whitehead, what's your response to the decision?
Hallelujah.
Were you surprised at all?
Well, I was preparing myself for the worst. I thought that I knew that the discrimination did take place, but I wasn't too sure whether the Act really covered that. And I'm really pleased that the majority finding says it does.
What does this mean for breastfeeding mothers, do you think? Or does that not matter to you?
Well, it means something for breastfeeding mothers. It means something more for, I think, the population at large. It says that whatever you are or whatever other people perceive you are, they can't deny you service, they can't abuse you. You go in for a service, it is your right to expect that and be dealt with that. People have to handle themselves in a professional manner if they're running a business, and not their personal prejudices.
Do you think, though, that other restaurants will now have to take a different attitude to women who want to breastfeed in public?
Well, different attitude. I haven't struck many that have ever opposed me with breastfeeding, and I've certainly done it for many years. I think discretion is important with whatever you do, whether that's eating or anything. And I think that if discretion is there, I don't think there should be too many problems, and I don't think there's too many restaurants out there that are that offensive.
But do you see this as a test case?
Oh, well, it must be. I guess it is. This is the first time that the breastfeeding issue has really surfaced, and some decisions have been made. But I don't think it is a decision purely on breastfeeding, but rather how others should conduct themselves.
Well, in a nutshell, what's your response then?
I'm very pleased that other people have seen my point of view.
Is it also then a personal triumph? I mean, how much is it that as well as a test case, as well as setting a
Oh,
precedent?
it's certainly a personal triumph. I've basically put my ideas, my beliefs on the table and had those to public scrutiny, and to think to have probably a legal system question that, every word that I've said and everything that I believed, and that's been considered acceptable. So, boy, to me that is very personal, yeah.
You've actually been granted no damages at all, or any recompense. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that doesn't really worry me in the least. I guess the book that I was sent out said that you had to organise your damages and what you thought, so I only estimated that on my working day's loss, so to lose or to gain money is really insignificant or incidental.
It was a matter of principle then?
Well, it was required. I understood by the legal process that I was going through, so I just submitted as required. The principle is more important than the money.
Would you do something like this again?
No.
Why not?
Oh, I think, well, probably I would. If a situation presented again that I felt morally that I was in the right and that somebody was standing over me and bullying me, I think principally I would. But at the moment, with all this amount of media and all of the legal system that is something I'm not used to, I think that's terrifying. And why I did it probably initially is just total ignorance and just not understanding what I was getting in for. But I think probably tomorrow I'd say, yeah.
I'm glad you got into it. Was it worth it?
Yes, I think it was worth it. There were certainly traumas through the process, though.
Do you feel you've done a
as-
lot for other women?
I hope I have.
Do you think that as a result of your victory here, other women will have a different attitude to breastfeeding in public?
I hope they have. I mean, I really don't see that breastfeeding is an obscene thing. How can it possibly be? That's the basic process that you're supposed to feed kids by. I mean, cocktail gowns are okay. Why can't breastfeeding be okay?
Has your attitude changed at all throughout the case? Have you thought more about the issues?
Oh, I've certainly thought much more about the issues. Put them on the table and pick them and turn them inside out and upside down. I think it's very important when somebody else's credibility and also their business is not at stake, but the publicity, I can imagine, for the Moons isn't a nice thing. So I think it's very important that morally I believe in what I'm doing and it's not a vindictive act.
How do you feel towards Miss Moon now?
Well, from a business point of view, I really feel a bit sorry that sort of negative publicity has gone that way. I wish it could have been conciliated, and that's what I wanted all along, not the public position where someone doesn't have a choice of getting out gracefully. They're actually told what they must do. It's always nicer to make a choice and end up with a degree of pride.
How much do you think the interest in this case has been because it's been between two women and between two fairly strong-willed women?
Strong-willed should always be a positive thing, I think, in life. I mean, you should know what you should have a belief in what you are and be able to assertively put that forward. Whether it's been over a simple female issue somehow seems to put it down as just a female spat. I'd like to look at the further ramifications and say that it has more of a social value. Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
anyway. Goodness, this is unbelievable.
Everyone right?
Well, Miss Moon, have you won or have you lost?
At this stage, we're considering taking the action further, so it would be inadvisable to say anything.
Are you pleased with the sorts of results that we've had today?
Not particularly.
Which particular aspects are you most displeased with?
Well, as I've said, I don't think it would be advisable to say anything else. We'll probably be taking the case further.
Do you think that today's findings lay a precedent for the way hoteliers can deal with clients on their premises?
I'm not a qualified person to speak for the rest of the industry, and I think it would be advisable to contact somebody from the AHA.
What are the principles involved with this case, Miss Moon?
Well, I think that's come out with the judges. First of all, with Mrs. Whitehead.
Whenever you're ready.
There was, therefore, no order for damages. The acting chairman of the board, Dr. Ian Sharp, told Mrs. Whitehead there was often a price to be paid for reform, and that price was often borne by reformers. Do it again. I'll do a longer one. I'm going to keep...